Joining us for a little bit is Shreveport City Councilman Michael Corbin. Hey, Mr. Mike, how have you been? What's the latest? How's your summer going now that we're 3 or 4 days in?
Good morning, Robert and Erin. Summer's going great, and I think we're progressing along, and I hope everybody's having a good time and getting ready for the 4th.
You know, we have had in the last week or so, we have had Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump. We've had longtime educator Dr. Mary Nash Robinson. We've had City Councilman Michael Corbin, Willie Bradford yesterday talking about the, as I put it, the spate of violence, the growing epidemic of shootings in Shreveport.
Councilman Bowman was here. We've had a bunch of folks.
And I'm sure you've heard a few, if not all of those. What are your thoughts about what they've had to say?
Well, I heard the story yesterday afternoon on the afternoon show on KEEL about 1988 when we had the Cedar Grove riots and the notoriety and all of that. And I really thought about what a different place Shreveport was then than it is now in many ways. And as I've listened to so many of the comments this past week or 10 days, I think that the problem is we're maybe not getting back. We're not getting on the solutions. We're still looking at maybe in some cases excuses for people choosing to act out bad behavior. But I think the best way to move forward is we're going to have more people at the table. We've got to involve the school system and juvenile justice and the DA and look at this from a larger picture. We can't just focus on STD, what they are doing or what they have the capability to do, because they're just one small piece of a much larger puzzle.
So pardon me, Mike, yesterday when Willie Bradford said a lot of people who need to step up have yet to step up, do you kind of agree with that?
Well, I do to a certain extent. I think it depends on who we're talking about, because there's lots of people that can step up. You know, we've had a call to ministers and community leaders, and there's things they can do. And you know, prayer's a powerful thing, and getting kids off the street and involved in church programs are good things. But there's more to it, because we have to get back to the fundamental problem: is why are kids dropping out of school? Why aren't they educated? Why aren't they able to get a job? When they do get caught up in the system, what happens? Why isn't the system helping them? And why are criminals getting back out on the street?
Michael, let me ask you this. When you bring up 1988, that was kind of a time in our community where we were kind of sitting on a powder keg. Are we at that point now?
Shreveport was much different then. I don't think you had near the interaction between black Shreveport and white Shreveport that we have today. Society was different. It was a bit of a powder keg because there had been a few incidents that led up to that night in Cedar Grove. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're there, and I truly think that you have to look at, again, the effect of social media, the fact that in 1988, we were close to 100 homicides. We have been on a steady decline. This year it's bumped up a little bit, but it's as bad as it is, it's not complete panic mode. I think we're just much more aware of it.
Michael, if you are mayor of Shreveport, let's give you the big gavel, whatever it is. If you are the mayor,
who doesn't want a big gavel, Mike?
Michael Corbin is mayor. What does Michael Corbin do?
Boss for the day.
Yeah.
I think we sit down and we start with the first interaction that young people have. We start with what changes might need to be made in the way that we educate and use those dollars. Then bring it on up through where we are today with, do police have everything they need to go out and do the job they need? And what happens when police arrest people? Because I think it would be interesting to see, as we have our shootings and we put the name of who shot who out there, who was shot, I'd like to know how many of them have an extensive criminal record, how many of them have been in the system, are well known by police. I think a lot of them are. And come back and try to dig into and see, where did things start to go terribly wrong?
Here's your $64,000 question, at least in my mind, and evidently in the mind of Chief Crump when he said we are facing multi-generational, here's his quote, children raising themselves. In a world where kids are having kids, how do you change that culture? I don't know. Maybe they are, but how many people are going to middle schools, high schools on a regular basis preaching abstinence and or not having preaching that having children out of wedlock at 15 and 16 and 17 is a really bad idea?
You know, that's a struggle because we have groups who want to be involved, who want to do things, and they tend to do things that feel good to them or easy. And sometimes the things that we go out and we get involved in schools and community programs with, you know, aren't really as prevalent as they need to be and aren't really solving the issues. I think Chief Crump and Councilman Bradford and others who have talked about family life, I mean, that's huge. That's where everything starts for young people. What we have to figure out is how do we not use that as an excuse of, oh, we have a bunch of people out here who have done a poor job of raising kids. How do we either get them better resources, get them better training, or what do we do to save those kids?
Michael, our last minute. You heard Mr. Bradford talk about our business community needs to do more. Do they need to pay more? Do we need higher taxes? What did you hear him say when he said that?
Well, I wasn't really sure what he meant. I mean, crime and the associated issues that come with crime certainly do affect every citizen, every business growth, new businesses come into Shreveport. So we have to be aware of that. But I think the more important thing to me, if we go back to me being boss for the day, is we've got to find 2 or 3 common goals that we're collectively working for. Because we still sometimes tend to get in this shotgun approach and we're trying to solve all the problems, and we need to solve 1 or 2.